Society. Don't look at me that way.
No, I think they have to be proactive enough to present if they want something.
Yeah,
They
I
did
think
to
so.
the commissioners.
I know, but they were
Yeah,
told to come
they
back
don't-
during this session if they.
Right, and she called and she wanted to submit a budget, and I said, no, what you've done is okay.
A budget for the
Yeah,
a
she
dog
wanted,
budget, huh?
she wanted to turn in her own Form 1, and I said, no, that's not what happens, you're not a department of us. But I don't know who,
Well, she
I
wants
don't
the same
know
thing
where,
every year, Jim.
Yeah, I know it.
I
wrote
who-
no on both of
it should
them.
have been
Commissioners put anything in their budget?
no, that's what I'm asking, should it be the
Well,
commissioners
that- all
who
that
put
other
it
stuff.
in,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
transit, or do you
Hey,
think
I
that's
don't
where
bet
it
her
should
for asking,
lie?
I guess.
That's
Yeah.
like seeded money?
I kinda thought she'd got the messages earlier.
For
I
what?
wouldn't do that.
If you do anything for the humane shelter. Why are you looking at me?
That'll be brought up for a vote.
Alright, but it's not in here anywhere right now.
I hope it don't show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not.
Very good use of taxpayers' money.
That's
As far as
that
I'm
with my
concerned.
animals. Is that the issue?
What's
No.
the issue? What'd you
I
say?
tried to do that with my animals, use the humane shelter. They won't take them outside of the city.
Right, because we don't fund them.
Oh, okay. That might be why. Well, I don't know.
Any other
We
questions?
don't give a. Okay, back to the question
So
again.
that's why this.
We have 200 and some odd, yeah.
Okay.
Next in the problem meeting, put it down.
What? Who did that?
I was good. That was here the other day.
One of these.
And I wrote that.
Listen, that would work. That
I
would
can't
be one
think
of
of the
the
gentleman's name, but
So I don't know
Good
if
sized
someone
guy,
must
good
have likes that.
When'd that thing collapse?
Oh, it's been that way for all
I know
morning.
there's some
From
really
you-
negative.
Oh, I thought you
Yes,
just
you
shrunk.
didn't
we'll
know.
close that
Lindsay
place
is
That
probably
notice.
within a month or 2 months.
Better than ever done.
And that's 2 years ago,
If you
there
look
and
at
it's
those
still running.
numbers of how many county dogs are going into that, it's a lot. A lot of county animals are going into that shelter. I think we should somehow, some way fund it. Even if it's just a small one-time donation, like we do to, but that's you guys' call.
Square down on the next.
Suck it in.
I have it in my budget changes, so I'll leave it there.
Then we can put, tell the
We're talking
commissioners,
about-
put that in the budget, Bill. Get that chair fixed.
What's wrong with it?
It goes to the
It sits
ground.
about this far off the
He's
floor.
gonna throw
I
it.
thought he was just short.
I thought, that's what I thought. I wondered why you were so.
It only works.
Oh, yeah, I don't, that one though, has a,
It
Has a
doesn't
little
have
problem,
any
though.
air
Yeah.
in it.
Oh.
Well, everything.
well, that one he's got.
So it just
Jack
goes
it,
all
stand
the
up,
way,
jack it up.
like, you hit this and it goes really fast.
How's that?
Yeah. There it
Kathy,
is.
you're up next. We're running a little bit ahead of
Right
schedule.
on that thing.
Yeah, I like that.
That works for me.
I brought you a little package just to give you a little bit more information on us. So,
Maybe you would.
just what you need, more information.
Gilroy was here. Maybe worse.
You got too short.
That's very
Increase the
good.
budget, 2 bad chairs.
I know, Dad.
Gilroy.
Do you need it to talk about it?
No.
No.
Basically, we did, in your packet is a spreadsheet of all of our budgets since 1986, I believe, when our department was started. So you can tell what we used to fund and what we fund now, which is a big difference. Just a little history stuff. The other ones are I keep a separate database than Jen's office does, just so I can keep track of where my expenses are, what I'm spending it on. And, you know, if it's hazmat related, or it's CERT team related, or it's EMA related, or we've done something like we put the cooling station up the other day during the Old Settlers, just so I can keep track of where those expenses come out of and what they are. So that's what the next sheets are. And then there's also in there the 2011, 2012 assessment that the state does for our 50% match back of our salaries. We are, for the second year running, one of the highest counties in the entire state and in District 3 to receive our 10% more for the grant. So that's what that is. Also, there's another sheet in there that shows for the 2012-2013 assessment what we are going to have to accomplish. And they have added a lot of stuff in there for the elected officials. They want the elected officials more involved in the EMA, which is fine. And just taking some classes just so that you know what we do and why we do it and how we can help you if something does come up. I mean, the storms the other day were bad. If it had been big tornadoes, we'd still been at work, you know. So that's what all that is for you. Basically, with our budget, I left everything the same. I added the percentage to the director and deputy director salary, and also asked for a raise up in the volunteer allowances. We haven't really paid our volunteers a whole lot the last probably the last 4 years.
What do you need to pay them? I mean,
It's a reimbursement, basically. The state has a reimbursement policy for fire departments that $250 a year is supposed to go back to the firefighter to do like clothing allowance. If they ruin their clothing, it pays for it, helps them to reimburse them for fuel. Our volunteers, when they come in, especially with the weather watch, drive all over Whitley County, and not all of them can really afford that every time. So this is just kind of a thank you and a, appreciation, and, here's some money to put towards fuel for the next year. So it's not a lot of money. I mean, it's like $100 a piece. It's not like we're giving them a whole lot.
I mean, I guess.
Well, it's just been a volunteer allowance. Sometimes we'll buy, instead of giving them a check, we'll buy like everybody new t-shirts or new ball caps or the little decals that go on their car so that auto doesn't give them a ticket if they park there for more than 2 hours during the day. It just depends on what the group consensus is and what they need. If we have,
You say where they park at.
well, if they park on the street,
Why wouldn't they park behind the jail?
sometimes it's full during the days especially, and that's usually when we have the problem, is during the day. If we activate like right now and the guys are there until 4 o'clock, their vehicles are parked from 11:30 to 4 o'clock.
On the south side where the courthouse employees park, are they?
No, they usually park like in front of Heinen's and Bowen Center and wherever is closest for them to get in, and then they end up getting a ticket. So
How many volunteers do you have?
we have 75 CERT volunteers and 35 radio and hazmat volunteers.
But I know one of the things that we've talked in our meetings, the advisory group meetings, is that you don't have, you can't get volunteers to do a lot of it. You're always working with the same ones.
Yeah.
So what's that core group? How many work in that core group?
10 to 15. And they do have requirements. If they're going to be, if they ask for the reimbursement or we decide to do the reimbursement as a money factor, there are requirements that they have to meet. They have to be at all the exercises that we have, or at least present on the radio to do that. They have to, with the hazmat team, they have to respond. They have to go to so many trainings a year. They have to have come to so many staff meetings. It's not like we just, just because you sign your name on the list, we're going to send you, a $50 check or buy you a new T-shirt. They have to, they have to abide by the rules of the volunteer.
You pay for the training.
Most of it's free, or it's online. But if we send them somewhere, then we should really reimburse them for their mileage to go and come back. And that comes out of there also. So it's just kind of a pool of stuff. I did add to the office supplies, or the supplies, the amount that we pay for the ID badging system, this system here, when we make the new cards and the proxy cards. And as you can contest, they are not cheap. The proxy cards are $5 a piece. And the other cards that we issue them that do not open the doors are like pennies a piece. So we also have a ribbon. We buy at least 2 ribbons a year, and we go through at least 50 proxy cards a year. And we have to buy those in sets of 50s.
On that, weren't we a long time ago going to really try and get that in the coordinator's office, because she she's the one that does all the new orientation.
Well,
It's,
yeah, the way that it's set up is that there's 3 of us that can do or actually 4 of us that can do pieces of the ID badging system. And for security reasons, I can't activate a card. And we haven't shown you how to do it yet, but Pam can't take a picture and make the card. That way then one person can't go in, make the card, activate it, and then go use it. Just for security purposes within the jail and the building. That's the way it was set up in the beginning. So, and eventually we're gonna have to look at either upgrading the system or getting a new system, because we're getting to the point where the system is almost, like 8 years old. So hopefully if we get some grant money, we can update it, but.
what's the additional 500 in testing hazmat team member?
That's always been there. That's for, OSHA requires,
According to this, it hasn't. It's never been there.
it's the
$500.
physicals. It's physicals is what it's called.
It
It's,
used to be down here where it said drug test and medical exams. It
Right.
looks like the she changed the number.
oh, I'm sorry. I
That's
didn't
okay.
double check that. I know we had gone through and changed some the other day, but, yeah, that's for the OSHA requires us that if someone is going to wear a full face mask, respirator of any kind, that they have to have a physical examination. And
How do you do that? Do you work with HR to do that?
we just send them over to the occupational health at Parkview, and it's like $70 a
Okay.
person.
In the future, I'm telling you, just to protect yourself, you need to work with HR on that.
Okay.
Because we have to make sure we're consistent, that we're testing for a reason, that, any drug tests and everything should be ran through HR.
Yeah, we don't really do the drug testing. All we do is the testing for the mask itself, which is a physical, and the pulmonary test is what that is. There's no blood work or anything with
Okay,
it.
well, I'm just
But, yeah,
letting you know
yeah.
that there's a lot of lawsuits out there they tested me and they shouldn't test me, and
Yeah.
I feel like my rights are violated.
Well, we have taken it to where if the guys have a change in their face, they've either gained weight or lost weight, or they've had problems with their teeth, or, some kind of something on their, scarring on their face, then they need to go back and be tested. All of our guys have had baseline tests so that we are covered. We just keep a pool there in case we get new hazmat employees that would need to go over and have that done. So.
I can get with you, Kathy, we can set
Yeah.
the process.
And actually, Parkview Health had gotten with me and said that they weren't sure they were gonna still do it, so we might have to go find somebody else. But they also do it for all the fire departments. I mean, it's just,
Maybe our own health department, even now that we're doing some of those. That would be good.
I don't know if she can do the pulmonary
Well,
testing
maybe
though.
not, but what's it take to get certified to do it?
To get the
Yeah.
certification to do that.
Yeah, that I don't know.
That.
And we did add the ID badging cards, the ribbons, and then, the cartridges for the other printers as you guys asked. I did leave in on the equipment and the program maintenance, the $300 for the ArcGIS. So I understand that we were gonna try to take that out of someplace else. Wasn't that what it was?
We're taking it out of seed it.
Okay. So I just left that amount alone, but that is in there. That's why it's a separate line there. I believe that's it. Minus, I put the building back in. We had looked at maybe going with the highway garage and coming up with some kind of a, some sort of a building back there that they could also put some of their equipment in and share it between the two of us. So I put that back in as the $30,000.
Kathy, who'd you discuss that with? Was
I'm-
that discussed at our board meeting, board meeting?
And then also with Mike Barton.
And they were all
And
on
Tim.
board as far as that was concerned?
Mike Barton and I would love to be able to place one of those.
But the board, the advisory board, were they on board as far as that's concerned?
Yep. We had also talked about maybe, how at the gas stations, how they have the covers over the pumps. Something like that, so that the weather would at least stay off of the trailers. The snow's not gonna stay out away from it, and the ice isn't, but at least the sun wouldn't be beating on them. Because they are starting to rust and, just doesn't take much. The weather alert siren heads is a 32,000, and the weather alert program, which is the radios, the 7,000. This last year, the state covered that with a grant, but I've left it back in there. Just, I think it's a really good program. So. And I think that's it. The reminder of our salaries are reimbursed 50% by the state as long as we make the allocated points on the assessment. So, and they're making that just a little bit more difficult because I don't think they want to give it to us. But you know how the state is.
Is your insurance reimbursement partially?
The insurance for the hazmat,
Your employee insurance.
employee insurance.
Can't remember.
Yes, it's our salary plus all the fringe benefits.
Yes.
And I personally don't take the county's insurance plan, but yeah.
We pay everything out of county general, and we'll get reimbursed for miscellaneous, receipt it back
Put
in.
it back in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the retirement, the unemployment, all that gets reimbursed that way.
Any other comments or questions for Kelly? Thank you for your time.
Miss Kathy.
Thank you.
I did too, I threw it away.
Okay. I didn't know if maybe that would help with the
Yeah.
sheriff's department or something.
It doesn't, since we're all
It's
on
all
it.
over.
I still don't think it's a good. I'll look some more, ask if any other counties are doing it.